What's good? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chuck. Thank you so much for being here. Continuing our Monday market update because there need to be more PokeTubers who do market updates on Mondays. We have a lot to talk about today. We're going to get right into it, quite frankly, because things are not cooling down. Things are not cooling down. I was talking about the Bubble Mew a few weeks ago as a potential play at around $350. And well, what do you know? It is currently selling for $489, $408, $408. Absolutely insane. When you think about the most iconic cards of the SV era, there's only a couple that come to mind. You might think the Bubble Mew, the Greninja, maybe the Sunbreon. I think for most people, the Bubble Mew is kind of the card. And historically speaking, the top chase card of the era tends to perform very well. And so I think what you're seeing is people are looking for opportunities in raw and slabs. Bubble Mew comes to mind. Any card with a nickname is probably going to be performing pretty well. And I don't think this is the end. I think this is the beginning for Bubble Mew. And don't be surprised if this is actually a $600 card at some point in the relatively short future. So pretty crazy stuff we're seeing here at this point. For $500, I just don't feel comfortable buying it. At $300, I was feeling a lot better about it. Now, I don't really buy raw for investment anyway. I would consider a slab, but slab prices have also gone up. I think they're north of $1,300 at this point. For that money, I'd rather just put my money into sealed, something that I feel more familiar with, more comfortable with, etc. But yeah, obviously keeping an eye on these going forward. And I'm going to start with some of the recent auctions that have gone on eBay. And what I'm going to do is go through at different price points what has been selling, because it's really interesting. There is still so much volume in the market every single day, from slabs, raw, sealed. This is Probstein. They're pretty much the #1 consignment that exists as of right now. And as you can see, over the past few days, Shining Legends, obviously going up still. This collection box is really cool. Primal Clash, $3,300 plus shipping. Destined Rivals, sealed case, $1,825, just absolutely crazy. A lot of 150 sleeved booster packs for $1,300. It's under $10 a pack, plus delivery. Pretty absurd. $800 for a heavy blister pack. Venusaur on the front there. Evolution six box case. And then Secret Wonders, the set that everybody loves that nobody talks about. $13,600. If you look at some singles, some slabs here, kind of a similar story. $8,600 for this Mimikyu promo. Pretty insane. $1,000 Pikachu Greyfelt PSA 10. Mario raw, $3,800. Gold stars are still going absolutely crazy. $2,200 for a Beckett 9.5 Suicune. Umbreons. Let's see. We got Breakpoint, Gyarados, PSA 10. Megas are still going crazy as well. Japanese Bubble Mew. Huge premium on the Paldean Fates booster bundle display case, $891 plus shipping and taxes. So call that, $950 on that guy. Seems like a lot to be paying for my money. $2,100 for 2 sealed booster bundle displays. The prismatic one's kind of interesting. It feels like there aren't that many of these out there, so they are going for quite a hefty premium. And then just a lot of other cards here. And then this is kind of where I wanted to start doing the leveling up in price to get the feel for like really what's selling. We're starting at $100 and we're going to move our way up in big chunks. 244 Surging Sparks. Surging Sparks continues to have very strong sales volume, sitting pretty comfortably around 240, 250. Actually, I would argue that the price is starting to uptick on Surging because we got a reprint, or maybe a restock, call it what you will, hit target. I know a lot of people were able to get cases. You were able to get like 3 boxes on target for MSRP. Excuse me. That was a few months ago. Here we are. We're approaching a year for Surging Sparks, which is crazy to think about, but that is the reality. Charizard Ultra Premium Collection, $363 plus shipping from the UK, probably going for about $350 now. Continues to be a very strong investment in my eyes. Of course, the Chinese 151 Gengar Pikachu box, $285 a pop. Yeah, PSA 10s of this card, very expensive. I think it's well over $2,000 at this point. Somebody tell me down below. And then, you know, you have some Temporal going for $226. PCTB on Surging, $181. This will be a very strong play. I still think this is a bit undervalued. I think anything under 200 on the Surging Sparks PCTB is going to be a great deal. It's going to be a great deal. Don't be surprised if we don't get any more of these, which is pretty unlikely at this point. You know, expect these to continue to just march up, especially with the Shinji hype. It's a fantastic promo. It's Magneton. I know Magneton isn't the most popular Pokemon, but the art is exceptional, and it's Shinji hype. We'll see how that affects the prices. But I'm expecting $250, $300 relatively soon, to be honest, probably within the next 6 months or so. Journey Together, 215 sold, 203 still holding pretty strong at those prices. You got some packs here, Evolving Skies at $2,400. So a lot of Scarlet and Violet being sold. You know, not as much as maybe some other more expensive sets like Destined Rivals, but you know, the volume is starting to pick up a bit. I'm going to pop up to 200 and just take a look so we can capture some of those SV boxes that come in. Again, some of the same things that we saw here. Let's keep scrolling down. We got Evolutions, 2 boxes and a pre-release kit. Pretty cool. You know, more 151. We got a Lost Origin at $750. Regular Paldean Fates ETB at $217. Battle Styles $227. Paldean Evolved $330. A lot of prices just holding strong on these SV era boxes. Let's jump up to 300. Take a look here. Again, a lot of pack lots. Let's see. I'm going to switch over to new. Yeah, a lot of pack lots here. Boy, Emerald Deoxys art pack, $495. Wow, pretty insane. All right, let's take a big bump up to $600. Still more packs. Lost Origin, $686 on Lost Origin. $906 on Fusion Strike. Destined Rivals case, $1875. That is expensive. Flash Fire Blister at $732. We'll see a big Flash Fire sale here. You probably already have seen it on some other channels, but it's still insane. And it's look at that 7-Eleven pack on the Expedition pack. Lost Origin $810 sold yesterday. We're getting crazy volume for Lost Origin at these prices, and something you'll also see is Evolving Skies getting bought up as well at, you know, anything under 2,400 is getting purchased. This makes me really sad because I really want a Unified Minds box. One sold 2 days ago for about $27.50. $27.16 plus shipping and tax. Goodbye, Unified Minds. I don't know if I can justify paying that price on that box because I think there are better investment plays. Let's move up to 800. See what's going on. Evolving Skies at 24. Again, I mean, just absolutely insane volume here. Sun and Moon Guardians Rising, 1,075. Team Up, 8.9K. Fusion, $820. Like, this is a good way to get a feel for what is being sold in the market. And guys, just because a box is $900 doesn't mean that the volume isn't there. It takes a little bit of time for the market to come around on those prices. But they are, you know, in the world that we live in now, we're finding new bottoms every day. A set like Evolving Skies, I think will continue to just keep pumping like this. Unbroken Bonds, Check Lane Blisters, sealed case of 33, 1655. Eesh. Cosmic Eclipse ETB. Remember when people talked about these? They don't talk about them anymore. But $1,481 for an ETB. You know, these are the types of products that I think you'll start to see slower volume on, like a very expensive ETB. compared to a booster box that you can have for basically, you know, 2 or 3 times the price. Makes a lot more sense to me to get the packs for sure. Let's go up to $2,000. Here we go. This is where the big dog stuff is. EX Team Rocket returns sealed Tyranitar art with the original sticker. $3,049. Vintage is still very healthy. Japanese base set short crimp $21.25. Team up ETB 1 bid $2,000. Wow. The market is not slowing down. Evolving Skies, anything over $2,000 instantly purchased. $22.75 on auction. $2,300 on auction. $22.25 on auction. That was 10 days ago. Let's go up to 5,000 here. And then we'll do a couple more just for fun. Jungle sealed box 10K. There's that Evolutions and those Unseen Forces. These are Probstein. Supreme Victors Platinum 16.1. Black and White Dragons Exalted 13,899. I mean, these prices are just, they're pretty absurd. This is, I think like in the next cycle, you could see a lot of the same action happening for like some Sword and Shield. Of course, I'm biased, but you know, I think you get the idea. We'll do one more just for fun. 8,000. You know, there's your team ups, everything we've already seen already. There's a fossil box, unlimited, $10,000 team up, 9,700. So yeah, pretty insane high level vintage sales happening. And there are so many happening behind scenes at card shows. You know, you watch the vendor POV videos, you see these happening all day long. Phantom Forces a couple months ago, 8,600. I bet it's a lot more than that now. But yeah, let's tap into Lost Origin here. We'll put in a minimum of $500 because I want to remove some of the ETBs. I just want to look at booster boxes. All right, here's what's sold over the weekend. Box has creases and dents, $750. Who bought this? I'm sure this box looks terrible. It looks absolutely horrendous. And this box sold for $750. That's where we're at with these Sword and Shield boxes. The top ones, $686, $685. This is easily a $650 box. $889, $699, $700, $640. Let's see what's actually listed right now. $799, $899, $900. Not really anything under $790. Here's one. It's not the prettiest box, $724. So, Lost Origin, we've been talking about it for a while. Previously a $500 50 box a couple weeks ago. Now, basically a $700 box. And this is what you see. You see big momentum swing back into Sword and Shield. And you see big jumps because when you look at the Scarlet and Violet market, everything is very new and everything feels very inflated. Whereas you can look at Sword and Shield, the alt arts are phenomenal and the alt arts are driving up some of these prices. There's no doubt about it. They're not making more Lost Origin booster boxes, guys. All right. So I don't see these prices coming down anytime soon. We might see a little bit of a consolidation, maybe 10% off the top, but it'll just create another opportunity for another wave. Fusion Strike, similar story. All right. Let's put in 700 as a minimum. Here's some sales over the weekend. 930 best offer accepted. 906. This is a $900 box. 790. 840, 774, 875. Anything under 800 is basically gone. And everything in the 800s is having a high amount of sales volume on this box too. 899. Here's 7 bids with 4 hours remaining. Already at 780. I bet this goes for 850. All right. You have a bunch of boxes listed with an acrylic case. This one's a bit beat up. This one's a bit beat up, but a minty box, probably $900 if I had to guess. Evolving Skies, I mean, similar story. Like all of these top boxes, they're going ballistic mode. Let's take a look. Minimum 2,000. 26 best offer. That was today. That was in the last hour, I think, with an acrylic case. Pretty nice. 25 plus shipping, 24, 24. Let's take a look at Brilliant Stars and Chilling Reign, because I haven't been looking at these prices as much, and I think the value is there on a lot of these boxes. Let's take a look on eBay. Let me go back, pull up Brilliant Stars. Start with Brilliant. There we go, eBay. $349. That box looks pretty good to me. Free shipping, 45 watchers. Probably need to look at, oh, it's not English. It's German. Never mind. 490, 469, 439. Let's look at some sold comps. $429, 450. I think anything under $450 for Brilliant Stars is a no-brainer. No-brainer. 430. We're going to see moves in Brilliant Stars. We're going to see moves in Chilling Reign very soon. Chilling Reign going for about 430 to 450, very similarly priced. I rate these boxes pretty close, personally, between the two, Chilling and Brilliant Stars. Of course, you guys know I prefer Chilling, but from an investment perspective, you know, you have a box with Charizard, Umbreon, Trainer Gallery. Chilling Reign has the Galarian Moltres, has Blaziken, has the most Altarts, but many of those Altarts people don't really care about. Doesn't mean it's not a good set. It just means that an Ultra Mega Chase card really makes a difference for a set. But at $450, I think it's a pretty good value. I think anything under $500 for these kind of mid to upper mid Sword and Shield boxes are going to be doing quite well. The one that I actually would avoid personally is Astral Radiance, just because I would rather have something like Chilling. I'd rather have something like even Silver Tempest, because I think that Lugia is going to matter quite a bit. Here's then again, though, $350 is a pretty good value for this box. It's pretty clear, though, the different box prices are starting to become pretty cemented as far as value goes. Like, there's not going to be a world where Astral passes like Chilling or Brilliant Stars, in my opinion. It just doesn't have enough heat in it. You know, a lot of people love the set, myself included, but it just doesn't have that big dog like a Silver Tempest. You know what I'm saying? Let's take a look at Silver Tempest boxes too while we're at it. I think they're about 380 right now. eBay sold comps 373, 397. Let's take a look and see what is actually sold though. We got a 349 that sold instantly, I'm sure. 420 crispy box. 365, 349 plus 25 delivery. You know, call it 380 bucks, give or take, because that's about where it's selling. Nice boxes, maybe 400. I would rather have Silver Tempest over Astral Radiance for my money. That Lugia PSA 10 is I think $1,000 at this point. Insane. So Sword and Shield boxes continuing to pump. No end in sight. You know, my prediction would be some level of consolidation at these price points. You know, the market, again, I can't say it enough. We have a leg up and we accept it for a little bit and then we move up again. Fusion Strike will be over $1,000 by the end of the year. There is no doubt in my mind. It'll probably be closer to 1.1, 1.2, just because the percentage gains, the numbers, the dollar figures get higher as you go up in price in terms of leg ups. You know, a $2,000 box going up 10%, $200, right? A $200 box going up 10%, 220. So, you know, it sounds crazier than it actually is from a percentage standpoint. Just keep that in mind. All right, let's move on from those. Celebrations, the box that everybody was talking about and nobody was talking about. Peaked at 265. I think it's kind of settling around 250. I'm expecting another big move on this at some point, probably during the holiday season. Especially when we get more announcements on the 30th anniversary set. That is when I'm expecting a big move for Celebrations, is when we get information on what is actually inside of the set, and whatever cards that they're releasing or remaking or, you know, re-releasing, whatever you want to call it. those cards are going to absolutely pump. Like if they were re-released like a Gold Star or, I don't know, Radiant Collection. You've already seen people make moves on these, but they'll go even higher. The UPC $779 plus shipping $800. Probably out of my price point for this. I just don't feel comfortable spending it on something with that few of packs. I mean, there are 17, but I would just rather have a booster box at that point. Crown Zenith, in my opinion, I feel like it's a little bit slept on right now. For the past few weeks, volume has been decent, all things considered, but I think the biggest thing holding it back is the current supply that's out there. I mean, you can still find ETBs pretty regularly for 175 at card shows, maybe even a little bit less. And I think Crown Zenith, where most of the attention is obviously on the Shinji Moltres promo, which is pushing about $15 at the moment. And some of that price point will come back into these 10s here. I did pick up a mini 10, not a mini 10, but a 4-pack 10 with the Moltres promo for 40. They sell for about 50 pretty consistently, especially on eBay and locally. Yeah, I think there's a lot of value in Crown Zenith anything right now. And for me, I think the best product is going to be the ETBs. I think the promos are nice. I think the box looks nice. And I think when it comes to special sets, ETBs, PCTBs, that's where I want to be. So anything under 180 is going to be a good price point. 160, 170. It's kind of where you're looking. And it will continue its slow march up. Still pretty good sales volume, 159 listed, so this will need to get chunked down. Seems like every month about 70 get sold. Expect a big move on this in the fall, in my opinion. Unless a big buyout happens, then sooner. But, you know, now is a good time to be accumulating Crown Zenith, in my opinion, because the last trickling of ancillary products are hitting shelves. You know, we're not really getting a whole lot left at this point. Anything that is hitting shelves is insignificant, and it's a set that still gets ripped in high volume. And the moment that any hype returns to Crown Zenith, particularly the gold cards, you'll see big moves in this set. I'm very confident long term. Destined Rivals, the big story for Destined Rivals is the PC ETB, which spiked up from $187 to $260. Currently on TCG Player, $245 plus shipping. Really a $250 box. Feels unlikely that they're going to re-release these because they put out a statement for Prismatic PCTBs, which we'll get to very shortly. Of course, anything is possible. The set is not even 3 months old yet. Feels like it's been out forever with how we've been talking about it and then post-release, but you know, there's a world where they could put out another wave of these on the Pokemon Center website. I'll believe it when I see it. Of course, I'll be there to try to buy some if possible, but yeah, I mean, decent amount of these went out on the initial release, probably a few 100,000, and I'm not buying this box at $250. I would rather have the Prismatic special set. And I just prefer booster boxes to PC ETBs in general. I understand that they've been outperforming booster boxes, but from a risk perspective, I'm more comfortable long term with more packs, because packs are what matter the most, in my opinion. The booster box still holding strong over 300. You could probably find it 290, 280 locally, maybe. But volume is still there. Of course, it's trickled down. Anything at 240 immediately swiped up. But, you know, we're having about 50 sold over a weekend, a few day period. Look at the last month, 603 sold versus 552. This is what we refer to as a very high sell-through rate, over 100% sell-through rate. In the Pokemon world, that just means that the price isn't going down anytime soon. And if it goes below 300, which is kind of a new mental support, people are going to perceive it as a good deal. 151, not much to say here. UPCs, $450, probably the best product you can have of the era, although you are paying a premium on some packs there. The PCTB, what needs to be said about this that hasn't already been said. Sitting well over $800 at this point, and no signs of coming down anytime soon. Mini tin displays, pretty flat. Booster bundles, fairly flat, $75. You know, expect these prices for probably a couple more months. And then once it gets fully moved out of rotation, which I believe it's in this upcoming block, see you later. See you later. The news alone will pump up these prices, and people will start buying and accumulating as much as they can, even more so than they are now. Of course, the regular ETB sitting above $200 still. Anything 151 MSRP is the play, and I don't think you'll have many more opportunities to get 151, you know, below the market prices that they are now in significant quantity. So now is still the time for 151. Prismatic Evolutions. The set that nobody talks about, the set that everybody talks about. I think we all agree that the PCTB is a great play. Even though the Pokemon Center, they put out a few waves of these on the website. And in the UK, they just released this bundle with a plushie, an Espeon plushie. I think it was $90 for a PCTB and a plushie. They have not hit US markets from what I can tell, and it's not confirmed that they are hitting US markets from what I can tell. So, you know, there's a good chance we'll see another one of these for the rest of the year, but probably an equal chance that we're not ever going to see any more of these be released. It doesn't really matter because they get bought up instantly. And volume is still absolutely insane for this product. Look at this. Remember that 100% sold-through rate I was talking about? In the last month, 235 have sold, and there are currently 143 listed. So anytime it drops down to $200, $230, they get purchased all the way through every day until they're gone. And mid to end June dropped to about its low of like $200, $210 in the beginning of July. And since then, 1 month later, we're back at $260. Back at $260. Currently $275. So at this rate, this will be a $300 box in about a month or two, if I had to guess. Comfortably 2 months, definitely 3 months, maybe in 1 month. It continues to be the best product that you can get for this set, guys. PCTBs are the best product for special sets. The only product that comes close is the SPC, which is currently sitting for 215, and we are seeing big moves on this in the last month, down from 203 up to about 220 now. We did get a lot more volume of the SPCs recently from Walmart. Singles prices continue to drop. I think they're probably, the total set value is probably sitting somewhere north of 4K, 4.3, somewhere in that range. Let's check the regular ETBs, which people aren't really talking about because we're getting a ton of product coming soon. Costco, we have a 150,000 plus quantity releasing. I believe it's on Costco. It might be Sam's Club. Correct me if I'm wrong. But in mid-August, $103, it's sitting about $100. So you can probably find it for $90. This will probably be under $100 once that release hits, and then it'll be absorbed back into, you know, the rip and shippers, the collectors, the investors. It'll probably just continue to bounce down 10, 20%, and then bounce right back up a month later. Is my prediction for the set. A lot of people might disagree. We'll see. And of course, we have the collection boxes coming soon. I believe it's 14 packs, very similar to Blooming Waters and, you know, the Sea and Sky collection from Crown Zenith. That is releasing this month. That is coming on Sam's Club probably in the next week, maybe 2. In stores and online stock are very healthy, and I believe it's a limit of 2 per account. So we'll see. But yeah, expect those to be very expensive too. And I believe that pretty much covers everything I wanted to talk about today. A lot of price movement happening in Sword and Shield. Obviously, we're going to continue to cover it as we always have done since the beginning of this channel. Watch Brilliant Stars, watch Chilling Rain, Silver Tempest, Astral Radiance. There will be moves made on those boxes soon. This is what we see. Evolving, Fusion Lost, everything else. And I do believe a move is coming on Crown Zenith because sitting flat, a set of this quality, arguably a top 2, top 3 set of the era in general. I would rank it over Fusion. I would rank it over... I think it's the second best set behind Evolving Skies. The only thing that is holding it back is the supply. If there's a big buyout, it's going to move pretty quickly, north of $200. I'm predicting a $300 ETB by the end of the year. That's my prediction for Crown Zenith. So, to me, it's a strong investment. I feel very comfortable putting money into the set, even at these prices, because I just believe in the quality of the set, and sometimes conviction is the most important thing you need. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you're seeing. I know there are plenty of raws and singles that I'm not talking about that have pumped or increased in price. Sword and Shield Altarts being a big part of what's happening. Drop it down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching the video. Really appreciate y'all, and thank you again for joining the live yesterday. That was a ton of fun. We opened up more Black Bolt, got absolutely wrecked. It is what it is. That is just my luck for the set. All right. So, yeah, guys, thank you very much. We'll do a giveaway soon. Congrats to the winner who I've already been in contact with. We're getting that paid out to him very soon. And I will see you in the next video on Wednesday. And I'm looking forward to it. All right. Have a great week. Have a great Monday. And I'll see you very soon again. Peace.